Today I will talk about the topic marine calcifier exhibiting responses to CO2-induced ocean acidification. And the remote surface ocean has already decreased by 0.1 unit since the Industrial Revolution, with more and more anthropogenic CO2. And the progenic CO2 means the CO2 made by people. And the more CO2 will make ocean more acidic. We know carbonating the seawater combines easily with hydrogen ion. And we can see the reaction A. The decreasing of the carbonate will make a reduction in calcium carbonate. And the even impact on marine calcification, and the calcifiers will disappear. What's the purpose in this paper? I will tell you how the marine calcifiers respond to the elevated CO2, and we will observe the varied responses among the species, which is more complex than our thought before. And the method, we feed 18 calcifying species for 60 days. And the 18 species is the 6th and the 6th and the 6th. Yeah. And we put them in 25 degrees Celsius experimental seawater with 4 average pressures of CO2 and their relative seawater saturation with respect to aragonite. So we can call them omega aragonite. And what is aragonite saturation? Aragonite is a form of calcium carbonate, and their relationship just like carbon and the diamond. When the omega is bigger than 1, it's supersaturated and it will precipitate. And when the omega is equal to 1, it does not dissolve or precipitate. And when the omega is smaller than 1, it is undersaturated and it will dissolve. The figures is made up of the experimental result of the 18 species. And we can see one of them. The x-axis is saturation of aragonite, and we can call it omega. And we can see the bigger omega, the pressures of CO2 are lower. And the y-axis is net calcification rate. Net calcification rate is total calcification minus total dissolution, and divided them by initial weight. And all of them are estimated from the change of the boiling weight. When the value of y is positive and its calcification, when the value is negative and its dissolution. We can classify the experimental figure into some types according to how the 18 species respond to the elevated CO2. And the type 1 is when the pressures of CO2 increases, the net calcification decreases, just like this. And there are 10 species belonging to type 1, the 4 species and the 4. And type 2 is short dissolution in the highest pressure. We can see when under the highest pressure, the value of y is negative, and its dissolution. There are 6 species of the upper 10 species belonging to type 2, and the 3 and the 3. The type 3 is when under the intermediate CO2, the net calcification increases, just like this. And at the highest pressure, the net calcification decreases, like this. And there are 4 species belonging to type 3, the 2 species and the 2 species. And the type 4 is net calcification is greatest under the highest pressure. We can see there are 3 species belonging to type 4. And type 5 shows no response under the change of the CO2. And we can get the factors explaining variable responses among organisms from the previous part. And the number 1 is regulation of pH at the site of calcification. Some species will make a reduction in hydrogen ion at the site of calcification via proton regulation, which means the localized pH increasing. And another species will utilizing hydrogen carbonate ion directly if the seawater is the source of organisms calcifying fluid. And when the pressures of CO2 increases, the dissolved inorganic carbon will increases too. And the species will directly convert the IC as hydrogen carbonate ion to carbonate. Number 2 is protective internal organic layer. The function of it is separating shell or skeleton from surrounding seawater. And we can see the left part is species totally covered by the organic layer, and most of them show calcification. And under the same situation, the right part is species largely exposed to the surrounding seawater, and most of them show dissolution easier than the left part. So we can get a conclusion. Total coverage by the layer shows greater calcification to the elevated CO2. Number 3 is calcium carbonate polymorph mineralogy. What is polymorph? Polymorph is one or more than one minerals contain the same chemical composition, but differ in their crystal structure. And the common forms of more soluble calcium carbonate is the aragonite and the high magnesium calcite. We can see the 6 species exhibit dissolution, and there are 4 species are made up of the aragonite, and the 1 is made up of the high magnesium calcite. So we can know organisms utilizing the more soluble forms would be more adversely affected by the elevated CO2. And number 4 is fertilization of photosynthesis. We can see the left 2 species, and they are directly utilize the CO2 via photosynthesis, and they will show increasing under the intermediate level, like this. And we can see the right one, temperate coral, which contains symbiotic algae. It means the temperate coral do not directly utilize CO2, and it will show no response under the same pressures. So we can know whether direct utilization of CO2 via photosynthesis may make an influence. Conclusion: we can get 4 many affecting factors from the previous part. From the experimental result. And one is regulation of pH at the site of calcification. And number 2 is solubility of mineral. And number 3 is degree of protection of internal organic layer. And number 4 is whether utilize CO2 directly via photosynthesis. So the outlook we think is how the species responds to the elevated CO2 is still more variable and complex than our thought. So we just keep going to generate the data to observe how the relationship between them. So that's my speak today. Thank you.
Okay, so 9 minutes 30 seconds. So now 1 minute discussion.